Hey team, so today's video is how can running injuries be prevented? And I've had a lot of comments recently in regards to athletes that are dealing with injuries and asking like what is the best remedy to overcome aches and pains that they've gotten from training, either doing those harder track workouts or just out there running. Sometimes you can get an injury just by running easy, and it comes about, it seems like it comes out of nowhere. Definitely running injuries. The best remedy without question is proper rest. Okay. Do not continue to train if you're dealing with a chronic issue. If it's like maybe a sore Achilles or any type of muscular or tendon or ligament issue that continues to feel painful every time you go out and run, it is not worth it to continue to try to train on an injury. Okay, and I have plenty of experience with this. I've had plantar fasciitis. I've had 3 knee surgeries, twice on my left knee, once on my right knee. It was cartilage that broke off in my kneecap when I was in high school. Fortunately, my last surgery was in 1997, so it was a long time ago. But there are some athletes, it comes out of the blue. When I was in high school, I had to. The good thing about those types of injuries, if it's just floating bodies in the kneecap, they can go in and do orthoscopic knee surgery pretty quickly. I was pretty much back to running about 4 to 5 weeks after the surgery. You're on crutches for a few weeks, obviously. But sometimes these injuries come out of nowhere, okay? And most of the time it's a combination of a lot of things. It can be some kind of genetic issue, like in my case, for whatever reason, when I was in high school, the cartilage, especially in the patellar area of my knees, were very weak. And fortunately, I never had any other issues in terms of knee-related issues outside of patellar tendonitis. And that's something you can run through, but it is painful. Icing, obviously, is extremely important in terms of a remedy to spend at least 10 to 15 minutes daily. And I'm talking consistently. Do not miss. If it's patellar tendonitis or you have any type of muscular issue that's giving you issues, make sure you're icing. Sometimes, especially if it's a muscle, sometimes warming the muscle up with like a heating pad prior to doing your workout is good. And then after you get back from the workout, then you ice. Okay. The best remedy outside of complete rest, and definitely I highly recommend this if you're dealing with any type of running injury, pole running, because you get in the deep end of the pole. There's no impact on your muscles, your ligaments. It's just like you got to pump your arms, you got to pump your legs to stay above the water. Especially if you're not wearing a flotation device, it's a great workout. It's almost equal to land running. Okay, and I often get asked, what are some other alternatives? Say I don't want to do a track workout, but I still want to get a similar type of I don't want to go out and do an anaerobic workout, maybe a tempo run or a track workout. What's another type of workout that I can do that could equal that particular effort? My recommendation without a doubt is pole running, because the water pressure basically forces, especially if you're not wearing a flotation device, it is an extremely difficult, very highly anaerobic workout. You can do fartlek workouts in the deep end of the pool. You can do long runs. You can do tempo run efforts. If you're wearing a heart rate monitor, it's kind of hard to check, but you'll have to, as you're running in the pool, you have to check where your heart rate's at. But you'll notice that, especially if you're not wearing a heart rate or if you're not wearing a flotation device, you will have to work much harder, and it is not very difficult to have your heart rate rise if you're in the deep end of the pool. What I loved about that, aside from the fact that if you're doing it over several months like I had to, is it becomes very boring. Okay, but boredom is quickly overcome the moment you set a new personal best, because you forget all of those really difficult days, because the enjoyment and the excitement from crossing the finish line in a new personal best outweighs those difficult times, those times where you did have injuries, those times where you doubted yourself, those times where you had to jump in the pool and run for a couple hours for a long run in the deep end of the pool, and where nobody was holding you accountable. It was totally up to you. So how can running injuries be prevented? Without question, listen to what your body's telling you. Okay, do not continue to push through an injury. It's not worth it. It's better just to take a week or 2 off. You could literally take 7 days off completely, not run a step, and not lose any amount of fitness. 2 weeks, you're going to lose a small amount of fitness, but you can quickly gain it back. Okay, if you took a month off, you would definitely lose some fitness, but you can gain that fitness back relatively quick. If you went and you took off a couple, 3-4 months off completely and you didn't run a step, then it's going to take some work to get back into overall anaerobic and aerobic fitness. But really, running injury prevention is about listening to your body and not letting your ego get the best of you, okay? It's much wiser to work smart than it is to work hard. As I talk about in other videos, there are far too many people that know how to work hard. And I'm not just talking about running. I'm talking about other areas of their lives too. Working hard is not always the best strategy. You have to think outside the box, and you have to think of what can I do to work less and get better results than versus working hard and not getting the types of results that I'm truly aiming for. Okay, so without question, if you're dealing with an injury, don't continue to run on it. Take a step back, allow yourself time for complete rest so that you can recover. And it's much wiser to take off 2 to 3 weeks completely. Okay, drink whatever you want, enjoy yourself, get plenty of sleep, allow your body to again, replenish itself, heal itself. The body always does that, provided that there is ample time for the body to recover from the hard workouts you're doing. And in this case, if you have an injury, complete rest is the best option. In terms of other remedies that you can think, definitely without question, icing, mesotherapy, dry needling, as I mentioned in a previous video. Dry needling is, especially if it's a sore muscle. In my case, I had real sore calf muscles, my left and right calf muscles throughout my running career, from when I was in high school, college, and when I was running professionally. I always had tight calves, okay, and it would happen usually about every year or so. Every other year, it would pop up, and I would get a real tight calf. Would tighten the lower and mid section of my calf would tighten up. The dry needling, the practitioner will move the needle in the tight area, and you will feel it, but it helps to alleviate and lessen the tension in the muscle area. And I know it does also have to do with like chakras and energy areas of the body, but definitely that is probably the quickest remedy in terms of healing a sore muscle and a tight muscle that I've ever experienced in my running career. So definitely consider that. How can running injuries be prevented? Okay, without, I mentioned before, definitely proper rest, taking care of yourself after these workouts. And if you are continuing to run with an injury and it continues to get worse, okay, definitely stop immediately. There's no reason to continue to put in continual training if it's going to force you to, the worst case scenario is you would have to have a surgery. The next worst scenario is that you're going to be out for several months versus several weeks had you taken, a few weeks off to allow complete recovery to take place. So again, speaking from experience here, sometimes the longer you're in the sport, the more mature you get in the sport, you quickly realize, okay, this has become a chronic issue. I'm stopping immediately, because it's much wiser not to allow myself time to recover rather than continue to try to train on this and make it worse. Okay, so that's my answer in terms of how can running injuries be prevented. Listen to what your body's telling you. Do not continue to train when it's continuing to get worse, okay? Obviously, find a physical therapist, a mesotherapist, continue to ice, take Epsom salt baths, prop your legs up on the wall in your home for about 10 to 15 minutes every single day. You will notice after about 5 to 8 minutes, your legs will go numb, but it flushes, the blood will flush down your legs, and it helps to. This was a strategy that Jack Hazen, when I was at Malone University in Canton, Ohio, I competed for Jack Hazen. He's one of the world's top distance running coaches. He's been there for 56 years. He is still at Malone University. If you Google his name, Jack Hazen, read about him. He's an extremely knowledgeable coach. He had us doing that strategy too. And I definitely recommend that, even if you're doing easy and hard workouts every day that you train, prop your legs up on the wall for about 10 to 15 minutes. And again, you will notice your legs will go numb, but it helps. It's another remedy to help ensure that you are not only healing, but recovering quicker from your workouts. So I hope this video is helpful for you. Definitely feel free to leave me a comment below. Let me know what kind of injuries you've dealt with in the past and kind of what you can share with the community here on Run Dream Achieve of what you did to overcome the injuries that you dealt with yourself. I'd really appreciate that, and I'd love to hear it. And definitely, if you have any other questions, leave me a comment below. I'll definitely respond, as you all know. And I'll talk to you all in the next video.